the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast with your host, Jackie Pilosoff.
No one should have to go through a divorce feeling alone and isolated. The Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast is a production of Divorced Girl Smiling, where every show is 30 minutes aimed to empower you, help you feel validated and understood, and connect you with some of the best divorce professionals in the industry. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and start smiling as you join us right now for the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found and always at divorcedgirlsmiling.com. Before we get started, I wanted to say that people always ask me, what should I do with my wedding ring after divorce? And I want to tell you my story. So it was around 2011, and I had been divorced for a couple years and was at a point in my life where I was a little bit financially struggling because I hadn't gone back to work yet, and I needed a little extra money. And my diamond engagement ring had been sitting in a drawer for probably 3 or 4 years. And I felt like it was the right time to sell. Emotionally, I was ready to part with it, and I wasn't upset about selling it. I ended up going to a local jewelry store that my good friend owns, and she told me, you know what, I could buy this from you, but I can't give you a lot of money for it. You need to go to somebody who buys diamonds and jewelry. So I went online and I found MJ Gable. Now, I cannot believe how great and how lucky I was that I found them. They're wonderful. They had not been in business that long. They've been in business since, I think, 2008 or something like that. But Matt and Ann Gable, the founders, are wonderful. They are so honest, so trustworthy, so knowledgeable, and the business has gotten huge since I sold my ring to them. Anyway, long story short, it was a great experience. I got so much more than I thought I was going to get. They sent me a check right away. Now they do it electronically. And you should really check them out. If you want to learn more, you can find them at mjgable.com. I also want to tell you about a wonderful divorce firm in Fort Worth, Texas called Varghese Somerset. They are a highly regarded divorce firm who specialize in high asset, complex divorce. And there are about 5 lawyers who are part of the divorce team. They are so ethical, really well known, really, really good people. If you want to learn more, you can go to versustexas.com and you can find both MJ Gable and Varghese Somerset in the Trusted Professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling. So when it comes to money and divorce, I will say this: divorce costs money. And I have been divorced since 2008, and I still remember getting those lawyer bills every month in the mailbox, because back then it wasn't electronic. And I would get so upset and just felt so scared about money and insecure. And so basically then you get divorced, and then you have 2 sets of bills, 2 sets of everything, 2 homes, and everything basically doubles. Now, did I say all that to stress you out? No, quite the opposite. I said it because I want everybody listening to not be worried about money. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, 4 words you should never say again. And I'm going to wait to tell you the 4 words. I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to introduce my guest first. My guest is Amanda Campbell, CFP, CDFA, AAMS, AIF, a financial advisor and managing director for Wealth Spire. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Always nice to talk to you. And we're going to get to the 4 words that I don't think anyone should ever say. But Amanda, how long have you been a financial advisor?
So I've been in this industry since 2010, and really have just found my passion, my reason for living in helping women feel amazing and empowered by their money.
So I love that so much. So you have a niche in helping people also who are not just, you help all women, but also women going through a divorce. You hold their hand through the whole divorce.
Absolutely. Because it's such a scary time, just as you were saying, all this money stuff is flying around, all these numbers that people are saying, and it can feel so overwhelming. So I just felt that, gosh, women really need a resource while they're going through that difficult time. And I love it.
I love that you did that. Thank you. I could have used you when I was getting divorced.
I hear that a lot.
So the 4 words are that I never want anyone to say again is, "I can't afford it." And Amanda, do you hear that a lot from your clients? And you're like, "Yes, you can." So that's what I wanna talk about today.
It's the thing I hear most from a woman either going through divorce or post divorce. Um, and I've actually, really realized that part of my job as a financial advisor, helping women through and post divorce, is I'm a cheerleader. And I almost joke I'm like a closeted therapist almost when it comes to money, because that I can't afford this mindset is something that lives in your brain, right? It is this thing you keep telling yourself on repeat. It's a mantra, and you really have to do the work and to have that paradigm shift into not I can't afford this, but what am I prioritizing instead of this? Um, and also just understanding your financial plan, understanding your money. We're always scared of things we don't understand. And money is that for a lot of people, especially post divorce.
Okay, now another thing I hear a lot from women is they say I can't afford it, and it doesn't matter if all women say it, no matter how little or how much money. I've heard women who have millions of dollars be so stressed about money. And it reminds me of my dad used to say, it doesn't matter how much money you have, everyone is stressed about money. Do you find that too?
Yes, 100%. I say that all the time. Like, I have clients with millions, right? Who you'd literally think they are, the way they talk is like poverty welfare. And it really is a lot of work all the time to look at these women and say, hey, we've gone over your plan. You're more than fine. You're going to be okay. Actually, I would say a lot of what I do is really looking at a woman post divorce and saying, what do you want to spend your money on? I know you're scared to spend your money, but look, we got to start spending it or the kids get it or the charities get it. Like, there is such a fear around running out, just a lack of that abundance mentality that it is detrimental. I
Do
once
you
worked
think?
with a
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I once worked with a woman who wouldn't turn on the lights in her kitchen. Like, when she was sitting in her kitchen talking to me on Zoom, she's like, I just, I can't spend the money. Like, it just got to her so badly post divorce.
Okay, do you think that there's like a lot of guilt and shame around money, and that's why people with a lot of money, like, they won't, or they forget that they're supposed to spend it? Like, hello, you're supposed to enjoy your life. You can't let all your money sit and yeah, that's great that it's in an account earning interest or it's in the market or whatever, but you have to enjoy life.
Yes, I talk about this in my book. Money is almost like a four-letter word, right? People think, "Oh my gosh, money is bad," or "It makes you evil," or blah, blah. That none of that is true. I like having money. It lets me do really nice things for people. I like buying gifts for people. I like tipping extra at a restaurant. Why wouldn't you love money? We all love money. What are you doing with the money? And that's where the gap is. Where are your values, right? So this woman that I said didn't turn on the lights in her kitchen, her biggest mental hurdle with money was, I feel like I have so much when others have so little. How could I possibly go on a vacation when somebody else is starving? And while that's admirable, why are you kind of turning a blind eye to all of your hard work? This woman was an accomplished, beautiful professional who just couldn't let herself enjoy her money.
And
And
why are you taking responsibility for the whole world? I'm sure
yeah.
she's a giver, giving to a lot of good causes.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Amen. But I think it's just that, I don't even know when it got started, but we've all heard it, like, money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. If you have the right values, integrity, money is a beautiful thing to have. You can help so many people. You can show love to people with money. Again, it really comes down to what are your values? And I work with women on that post-divorce. What do you want this money to do? Because a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. It doesn't matter. What are you trying to do with it?
So I talk a lot about and write a lot about self-love. And I think a big part of self-love is allowing yourself to spend your hard-earned money. And or even if you were a stay-at-home mom, you got divorced and your ex made the money, you made it too. You were sitting there raising your children. You contributed. So I think there's a lot of people who suffer and have lack of self-love, and that bleeds over into their attitude with money.
Absolutely. And I have a lot of women kind of in that category too that I work with that I say, "Listen, you were the CEO of the household while he was out climbing the ladder, becoming CEO of whatever. You were the CEO of his household, right? The household. You helped to raise your children together. Like, why discredit yourself from that? You earned all of that money and more." So it is just this ingrained thing that you really have to work through once you're on the other side. Um, and I actually think there should be more financial therapy out there, right? We all go to therapy and counseling for divorce and oh my gosh, but who's really talking to you about money in a way that can in a way that you can process it, right? And I try, but at the end of the day, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist.
Well, you're not a licensed therapist, but I would call you a therapist as part of what you do.
Absolutely, because money is so incredibly emotional.
Mhm.
So but some people's blocks and their guilt and their their feeling of, they're not worthy of this money is so, so deep that, you really do need to see somebody about it. Because some of us have everybody has a money operating system. Their beliefs make up how they feel and experience and believe, money to be. And, some of that comes from our parents, maybe some trials, tribulations we've had along the way. And a lot of times those get really jilted when we go through the divorce process too. Something that you've been able to kind of cope with, maybe your parents were always saying, "We don't have money for that," or "We're too poor for that." That gets in your brain because you're so
Absolutely. That
Mhm.
is such an important point. Yes.
And it gets in your brain and you're able to kind of cover it up, cope with it, but then you're going through the divorce process and everything's bubbling to the top and you remember dad and mom saying that and then all of a sudden you're saying, "I can afford this, I'm gonna be broke." I hear all the time, I just don't wanna be eating peanut butter sandwiches every day." You're not gonna be. You're not gonna
Wow, it
but
makes you think the damage you might have done to your kids, like, maybe you did that to your kids, and it's so funny because I try so hard not to do that. If I'm stressed about money, I try not to let it show because I don't want them to grow up being insecure, and I grew up in a great I had, like, hit the lottery with parents.
Yeah.
And they never made us feel scared or nervous about money, even though we found out later, like, they weren't like they took some risks. It wasn't always like perfect, but we thought we were really wealthy. Like,
You lived a great life. I know. And I think that's so important, especially, I have 3 daughters. Um, I want them to feel confident about money always. Like, I am also very careful how I talk about money in front of them because stereotypically, and it's just how it is still, money isn't seen as a topic for women. And I want my girls to know it's a topic for you. You have to talk about this and you have to feel good about it no matter what the situation. So I agree with that. I'm always very careful about how I approach the topic and the conversation of money and abundance and wealth and really, at the end of the day, I try to teach them that money is a tool. That's all it is. Money is a tool. It does not define you. It does not say who you are in this world. It is a tool to live your best life. That's it.
you're listening to the Divorce Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pillisoff, and I'm your host. I'm here today with Amanda Campbell, who is a financial advisor. And Amanda and I are talking about the words, I can't afford it. We're getting into all these psychological aspects of money. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we actually have tips for not saying I can't afford it anymore and for living a happier, healthier mindset when it comes to money. We'll be right back. Divorce leaves families vulnerable, and too often spouses act prematurely or enter into a settlement agreement without knowing the financial impact. It doesn't have to be this way. My Divorce Solution is a company that offers the ultimate divorce tool, delivering financial clarity to individuals and couples considering dissolving a marriage. Both founders of My Divorce Solution, one is a CDFA, the other a legal liaison, have been through a divorce and they understand the many financial obstacles. My Divorce Solution has what's called a financial portrait. It's a standalone document that they put together with you that identifies and assembles and interprets all the information about your divorce, about your assets, your debts, your income, your expenses. And it offers the framework which becomes the reference point of financial analysis with supporting documentation for everyone on your divorce team. And people save thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars using My Divorce Solution. So if you're thinking about divorce or you're in the middle of it, obtain your MDS financial portrait today. If you want to learn more, go to mydivorcesolution.com. I also want to tell you about a wonderful divorce coach. Her name is Darlene Taylor, and Darlene is a wellness, life, and parenting coach. She's an author. She went through a divorce, and Darlene has been doing this for about 4 years. She is just an amazing person. She wrote this book all about co-parenting. Darlene actually moved across the country for her ex-husband for the benefit of her daughter. She's just an amazing person. She has 10 years of experience as a clinical social worker, but now she's a coach. If you want to learn more, you can find her at darlenetaylor.com. Welcome back to the Divorce Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. Do you find yourself saying, I can't afford it? If you do say that a lot, that's not a good thing. We're talking about why you shouldn't say it and tips on not saying it anymore. My guest is Amanda Campbell. Amanda is a financial advisor for Wealth Spire, and she's been a financial advisor since 2010. And Amanda, somewhere in the conversation before, I heard you say, book. I didn't know you had a book. So tell me about your book.
So my sister is a personal trainer nutritionist, and I'm a wealth advisor. So we call ourselves the Health and Wealth Sisters. And we really put together a book for women that encapsulates the Health and Wealth Sisters 360 action plan to help women understand that money and your health, they are so incredibly just correlated and integrated. As women, we can't separate them, right? We just can't. Wealth touches every part of our lives, as does our health. And at the root of all of this, right? If we're not taking care of ourselves from a health perspective, why are we building up a ton of wealth? Just to spend it on medicines, right? Doctor's appointments in the future, right? So that's kind of why you need to be healthy to be wealthy, and wealth is nothing without your health, right? Everyone deserves wealth. You deserve to feel good about your money, but you also deserve to feel good about yourself. So yeah, we take the stance that health and wealth for women are just hand in hand, and you need to be both. You need to be taking care of both.
Okay, I'm on my computer. Where do I get the book? I'm ordering it right now.
Yeah. So you can go to Amazon. It's on Amazon, and you can also order it right at your local bookstore if you want to shop small.
What's the name of the book?
The Health and Wealth Sisters 360 Action Plan.
I got it, and I'm ordering it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on to these tips that we're going to offer about not saying I can't afford it anymore, I want to just say that for Amanda and I are not saying like you shouldn't take a $10,000 vacation if you are having trouble paying your mortgage, if you're struggling to pay bills, if you're foregoing health care, if you can't support your kids. I mean, we're talking about saying I can't afford it when really probably deep down you can, or you need the help of a financial advisor to help you find that money. Where are we taking this out from?
Mm.
So I want to tell my listeners a story about what happened to me recently because I just made a big purchase a few months ago. I took a trip to Samos, Greece on a retreat with Hannah McKittrick, myintuitivehealth.com. It was the trip of a lifetime. And it was a lot of money, but it was worth every penny, and she sent out this thing and said, "Can you give me your feedback?" And I was like, "Well, I have nothing negative to say. I wouldn't even change one even iota of anything we did on the trip." So, I'm not like a really, really wealthy person, and my first gut instinct was, "I can't afford it." And then I was like, "Wait a minute. How am I going to afford this?" And with the help of a financial advisor, I basically found the means to go. And I said, "Is this going to affect my life? Can I afford this?" And Amanda, don't you feel like such a big part of your job is answering those questions from people like, "Can I afford to move? Can I afford $1 million house?" And then you might say, "Well, you may want to stick in the 800,000 range." Whatever the question is, Amanda, you seem like you're really good at helping people find that money and making good financial choices so that they can enjoy their life.
Yeah, that's literally what I do every day. Someone saying, "Can I afford to move, get a beach home," right? Like, go on this trip that I've been dreaming about that I know is so good for my mental and physical health, right? I tell women, instead of "I can't afford this," the language should actually be, "Well, I am prioritizing this right now." Right? So if a girlfriend's like, "Hey, do you wanna go to Nashville for the weekend?" I don't wanna hear you say, "I can't afford this." That is such negative, self-deprecating talk. "Oh, thanks, girlfriend. I'm actually prioritizing my child's, like, tuition to college right now. Thank you for asking. I'd love to go next time." Because it shows that you are an empowered woman in charge of what you are doing with your money, not this defeatist, "I can't afford this." No, thank you. I'm actually prioritizing XYZ right now instead. I'd love to have that conversation later. It's just
And
a different
and
reframe.
sometimes a lot of the things come at the same time. So you might have a really big expense and like, okay, oh, I need a new furnace. Well, that's going to cost me $5,000. So I think I'm not going to go on this vacation. That's not always the right answer. So you call your financial advisor and say, "Listen, I got the furnace and I want to go on this trip. Can I afford both?"
I always say, again, money is a tool, right? Money is a tool to help us live our best lives. There is usually a solution. 99% of the time, there is a solution to, just like you said, doing both things, right? And perhaps it takes prioritizing not in the immediate, but maybe in the short or midterm, right? So what trade are you making? Okay, if the furnace and the vacation pop up at the same time, maybe you're prioritizing both of those things today because later you're not going to do XYZ. Again, there's always a solution, but sometimes you have to talk it through with a financial advisor who can project forward and see the mid and longer term, right?
Absolutely. And I want to tell everybody listening that the reason why another reason I decided to take this trip is because I have a big milestone birthday coming up next year. And then I was like, well, why am I going to wait a year?
Mhm.
Isn't 59 the same as 60? If I want to go now, I'm going now.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm so glad I did it. And then somebody recently said to me, like, "Oh, what are you going to do for your 60th?" And I'm like, "Well, I kind of already did it. And I feel great about it." I'm not like, "Oh, I should have waited." I don't think anybody on earth ever said I should have waited to have fun.
No. 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 Also, tomorrow isn't promised. Like, genuinely, like, not to be a huge Debbie Downer, but we've all heard this story of the person who retires and then 2 days later passes away. And I'm not saying like, we genuinely had somebody like that at our firm. It was very sad. They had a beautiful financial plan and then couldn't enjoy any of their money, right? So, I think, and this is what I talk about in my book too, balance, right? Saving for or enjoying today, saving for tomorrow, investing for the future. Everything in life is a balance. Everything, right? So Jackie, to your point, why not go on vacation when you can enjoy it and you feel really good this year because maybe you've been making great strides with your health and you're like, gosh, the last thing I need to check off is mental health and
Amanda, that's kind of what it was. I was like, I'm healthy because a year ago I was recovering from hip replacement surgery. I could never have gone to Greece. And so this year I was like, wow, everything's good. I feel great. Seems like the right time. My gut was telling me it was the right thing to do. It was screaming that I should go.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, here's a couple tips. And then, Amanda, you tell me what you think of this. The first tip is to stop feeling guilty. And a lot of divorced women feel guilty because they're the ones who wanted the divorce. Do you come across that a lot? So they feel guilty and they have the shame about money because they're the ones who wanted the divorce. And they're like, well, I got divorced and I got all this money. What do you tell people for that?
Divorce is usually a 50-50 situation, right? Anything garnered during the marriage, like it's 50-50. And I remind women, I think a lot of times as women, we forget everything we've put into the marriage. Everything, whether you had children or not. There is so much that we give of ourselves and constantly give of ourselves. Our cup is rarely full all the time, right? Like if we're all being honest with ourselves, we're on good days, we're running at about 50%. We could always use a top off, right? This retreat for you was probably a really good top off, and you were probably feeling full a lot of those days, but that's not an everyday feeling, right? So I think a lot of times women need to be reminded, and I try my best. What did you bring to the marriage? When he was out working, doing X, Y, and Z, what were you doing? Were you home cleaning, cooking meals, making sure everything else was running smoothly for him? And it is funny when you start walking them through that, you watch the wheels start spinning and they start to get to the other side of, oh my gosh, yeah. And, there were always those times when he was going away for a week and I kept the house running for him. Of course you did, especially if there were children too. That's a thankless job. I mean, hello. I know you have kids too, Jackie. Like, hello. Like, there's so much that I think we as women don't credit ourselves for. And again, that guilt of, I wanted the divorce and now I have money. My bottom line is you earned it. You earned it. What do we need to talk about next?
Absolutely. Okay, another tip is ask yourself if you really want it, why you want it, what it means to you, and maybe wait a few days before making the decision. Like, I know for Greece, I didn't just hear about the trip and then go, oh, I'm going like the next day. I thought about it for like 2 weeks and literally it got to the point where I couldn't think about anything else. And then I was like, oh, I guess that means if I don't get it and do it, I'm not going to be able to even function.
Yeah.
But like I didn't just make a spur of the moment decision that day. So like I guess if somebody wants to buy themselves a really nice piece of jewelry, maybe just like if you see it and you're like, I love it so much and I really, really want it, wait a day, get the business card of the person. And then if you're like lying in bed going, I really wanted that, then you should go back and get it. What do you think?
I completely agree. And I also say when you're looking at something, does it align with your values? Right? So is that piece of jewelry in this example, does it genuinely align with your values for your wealth, right? Is that what you want? Because sometimes we just get wrapped up like, oh my gosh, we're out with the girlfriends and I saw a piece of jewelry and it was gorgeous. And a couple days later, you're like, why did I buy this? Like, I'm not actually going to wear it and it doesn't feel good. Like, but you were in the moment. So I love the idea of waiting, taking a beat. I actually do talk about that in the book as well. I actually think about every purchase I make. And I know that probably seems a little insane, but it's just second nature now. Like even when I'm at TJ Maxx and it's the holidays and the candles smell so good. Just take a deep breath. Do you need that candle or do you have 2 more at home? Kinda like that. Like, chill. Just think about it, and does it align with your values? Like, right now, again, the kids, we have 3 kids, the holidays are coming up, I'm trying to, like, declutter the house. Getting another candle would not align with that value right now. I don't want more crap in the house. I just don't. So,
I
like
just figured out what I'm sending you as your gift.
But it is, it's like, it's so funny though. People are like, when I, talk about that passage, and they're like, you really think about everything? I'm like, I do, but it's so subconscious now. It is so just like second nature. Like, does this align with what I'm doing right now?
Okay, next tip is reward yourself. So whether you are a stay-at-home mom, whether you have a full-time job, whether you're a business owner, I truly believe that rewarding yourself with material things is so important when it comes to motivating you to keep going and being happy and not feeling resentful. What do you think about that?
I couldn't agree more. And most of the women I work with, I say have a post-divorce hurrah. Like there's something she wants. Maybe she doesn't know she wants it yet, but she'll figure it out. And it usually comes in the form of a trip somewhere or a piece of jewelry. That aligns for people sometimes, right? A piece of jewelry, a handbag I recently had. Somebody really wanted like a designer bag. And the other one I see a lot for women post-divorce is plastic surgery. So, girlfriend, go get that breast augmentation. I had a neck lift that came up. Like, if you do need to reward yourself for getting through some tough times in life, but also maybe something really great happened. Maybe you got a raise at work or you got this big promotion. Celebrate yourself. Again, like today, life is for the living. We're not promised tomorrow, and life is about balance. So if you're not rewarding yourself after those tough moments or those big exciting moments, what's it all for? What's it
Oh
all
my gosh, I love that. Okay, I'm going to come clean here. Now, this podcast is audio, so people can't see me, but I do post it on YouTube. So if you're looking at me, I did have something cosmetic done. And the reason I'm telling you this, the viewers, is because I want you to know about something. There's this credit card called Care Credit, and
Mhm.
it pays for stuff like this because you can put it on this Care credit card. And I think I paid like a few $100s off every month for like a year, and it paid for the whole thing. And I didn't feel like I had to write a huge chunk.
Mhm.
So the best part is there's no interest. So I wanted to put that out there also for people because I think it's really important because people say, I can't afford it. I don't want to write a check for $10,000, but you don't have to with this care credit. So,
Mhm. But I think that just ties into, again, there's 99% of the time, there's a solution. You just have to be creative in finding it.
Okay, last tip is be creative about where to find the money. So, okay, we talked about how if Amanda was your financial advisor, you can call her up, you can ask her, like, can I afford this? What do you think? But remember to tell Amanda or your financial advisor about all these other accounts you have that might not be with her. Like, like a long-term, I mean, not long-term care, and insurance, like a whole life insurance policy. Or you might have like a real estate investment or other investments. Hopefully, Amanda would know all that before, but maybe she doesn't. And then she can help you get creative of where to take the money from. Because, like, for example, I have a whole life insurance policy, and that's like the first place you're supposed to take money from because there's no tax liability. You're not taking it out of the market. So it's like if you tell your financial advisor everything so they know the whole picture, they can help you more.
Oh my gosh, like, louder for the people in the back. I always say I want to know everything about
Mhm.
your financial picture because you are exactly right. Somewhere down the line, this is going to be important to me or important to that solution that we are trying to work towards. And, some people are a little bit more tight-lipped about, or they just don't remember, right, that they have that whole life policy. But gosh, even just like old 401k plans that you don't care about anymore. Like just be as open as you can with your financial advisor. And if you feel that you can't, I would encourage you to really ask the tough questions. Is the financial advisor the right person for you? Right? Do you feel like you can be 100% open with them? Um, and if you're just being tight-lipped, why? Like, what is your money operating system telling you that you can't be 100% open? Because that's how you're going to find solutions to everything. With a financial advisor, being open and honest about your money.
Could not agree more. Amanda, thank you so much. We have gone way over time because I had to tell everyone about my plastic surgery.
I loved it.
But thank you so much for being on the show. Tell my listeners where they can get a hold of you if they want to call you for a consult.
Yes, thank you. So you can visit wealthspireadvisors.com, wealthspire.com, I believe. And the easiest way to get in touch with me is honestly my email. So amanda.campbell@wealthspire.com. Or you can give me a call at 410-988-9494. I work nationally, so even though I'm in Maryland, do a ton of stuff virtually and always happy to help in any way I can.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
And you can also find Amanda along with so many other wonderful, trusted, vetted divorce professionals on Divorce Girl Smiling, which is divorcedgirlsmiling.com. And you can also go to my website to listen to more podcasts, read articles, and sign up for my free consult. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you real soon.